Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, depending on where you are. If you can hear lots of screaming and shouting in the background, that's definitely not my biggest fan club in the world. It is really. It's Hema and Alethea who are actually here for Renewable English, which is rare because usually we do it on a Thursday, and on a Thursday, Ali's at karate. You may or may not know today is Earth Day, so I've gone full on Earth Day special with makeup from the amazing Alethea and Hema to mark such an auspicious occasion. I'm fully earthed out, so I hope you like it. Welcome everybody. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for joining us. As always, remember, feel free to chuck us a donation. Buy us a coffee if you want. I probably won't go out and buy a coffee though. I drink coffee at home usually. Buy the bucket load. Too much coffee, Harry. Of course, if you're here, you know where to find us. We're on YouTube. We've also got our own website, of course, where you can stream this. But it's probably easiest to get it here. And you can find us, obviously, on the socials. You can also find us on TikTok and Twitter. But we're not really as active there. So come along and join wherever you feel necessary. So there were so many quotes that I could find for Earth Day. I looked all over the place and I wanted to do them all. But the one that really spoke to me, and it's something about Earth Day that does this to me. I have this kind of love-hate relationship with it because it's great for raising awareness. It's great to get people involved and get people thinking about the planet and the damage that's being done for the planet. It's also a great opportunity for companies to greenwash and get out there and be like, yeah, we're here, we're saving the planet, we're brilliant. When really they're not. And yeah, often people do their Earth Day thing and then the next day just go back to the old ways or whatever. But anyway, it's a positive thing in that there are ways we can learn about the planet and how to help the planet. So the quote I found in the end was this one here. We're stealing the future, selling it in the present and calling it gross domestic product. To me, one of the big things we should be doing on Earth Day, again, it is raising awareness, but it's raising awareness about these bigger issues. You know, why is there a climate crisis? Yes, it's good for us to all do our bit. It's good for us to do our recycling. It's good for us to walk to work. It's good for us to do all of these different things. But fundamentally, there are huge things that need to happen. You know, there are big things that need to happen from above, but we do need to make our voices heard. We need to stop using oil. We need to cut back on that dramatically because time is running out very quickly. Thank you very much. Kids can love the green beard, apparently. I think it's very fetching. I've got my eyes done as well. I know I look fancy. But yeah, we need to end this idea that we need to continue growing, that things need to continue getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Let's try and, improve the future by not selling everything in the present. Let's maybe take a step back. Oh, hi there, Peter. I'm glad you like my fancy face makeup, as opposed to my elbow makeup. I don't know. I'm not a makeup expert, but I believe one day maybe I will be. So you may have tuned in earlier this week when we talked about some of our general vocabulary we're going to be using today. Here they are. We've got direct action, climate justice, apathy, and greed. Now, the last two, I think, are the two biggest factors behind the climate crisis. That people don't really care about it, and other people just want loads of stuff. But the first two are the best way for us to deal with the climate crisis. So what do they mean? What are their meanings? Let's start with greed. It's an intense and selfish desire for something, especially wealth, power, or food. Now, all of this is on the worksheet, which I will drop the link into the chat box very shortly. I was so excited today. I didn't even get my links ready or anything. Just isn't that just an amateur, a schoolboy error? Has anyone seen Google today with the past and present pictures of what we're doing to the planet? I think it's quite impactful, that's for sure. It's definitely impactful. So the materials you can see here, they're under SDG13 in the on the link. Not quite as fancy as the worksheet I made with Silvina, which is all about strudels, which we talked about last week. But you know, it should do. So next up is apathy. That's a lack of interest, enthusiasm, or concern. Now, I think we have a problem with all of these. You know, I think there's a lack of interest in terms of the media. This is something the media should be speaking about a lot more on a daily basis. And then, of course, enthusiasm to deal with the issue and concern. I feel like, you know, lots of high-powered government people are speaking a very green talk, but they certainly aren't walking a very green walk as they continue to dig for oil and open mines. So it's all about watching out for that and maybe playing spot the greenwashing every now and again. Okay, climate justice. This is what it's all about, really. It's a fair sharing and equitable distribution of the benefits and burdens of climate changes and responsibilities to deal with climate change. You know, it's up to everybody to deal with this, but also we need to deal with the burdens from everywhere. We need to accept that, you know, in the global north, we're not as affected by this. So we need to look at this and, you know, halt climate change, slow it down as much as possible. You know, at the moment, we're looking at 3 degrees. We need to put it down to 2 degrees. You know, the aim in 2015 was 1.5 degrees of warming since the Industrial Revolution. That was only 7 years ago, and we're not even touching the surface. So what do we need? We need direct action. The use of strikes, demonstrations, and other forms of protest rather than negotiating to achieve one's demands. Guess what, guys? Negotiating isn't working. There's lots of talk of things in 2050. Oh, we've got a net zero goal for this day, for that day, for whatever day. What we need is direct action. What we need are protests. We need to go out on the street and demonstrate. We need to boycott. You know, it's simple enough to not buy certain things. You know, let's stop buying from people who pollute the planet. Let's bring it down a bit. Let's take it back a notch. You know, it's easy enough to boycott these different brands and these different things, and we need to spread the word and make as much noise as possible, and support those that are doing the difficult things. There are people out there who are getting arrested for this. There are climate scientists, you know, scientists who are putting themselves on the line because they have the science. You know, there's a lot of talk of environmentalists. It's about ego. They just want to be seen. There are scientists who have all the facts. You know, why aren't we listening to these people? So what we need is direct action. And on Earth Day, we are talking about climate action. Now, 7 years ago, the United Nations, so 196 governments agreed that number 13 of the Sustainable Development Goals, which, as you know, are the 17 goals that are aimed to lead to a sustainable world equal for everybody. Number 13, unlucky for some, would be climate action. And you can see here, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. Urgent action. Stop drilling for oil immediately. That seems like pretty urgent action. Don't think anybody's being particularly urgent about that. You know, on a low level, on a micro scale, there are people taking huge action, making huge sacrifices in their lives to try and, you know, have an impact on climate change. But those who have made these rules with governmental policy take urgent action. And this was 7 years ago, and we're still talking about it today. To me, there's something that's a bit broken there. So we will have a look at the targets. Now, think again about some of the other targets. Think about SDG3. There are 8 targets. What we have here in climate action are 3 targets. There are 3 targets and 2 ways of implementing those. The first one, strengthen resilience and adaptive capacity to climate-related disaster. To me, that sounds like prepare for climate change because it's coming no matter what. Um, Integrate climate change measures into policies and planning. Integrate them. Let's try and get them in there, guys. Let's do our best. Yeah. Integrate them in there. Come on. Climate action now. Now, please. Build knowledge and capacity to meet climate change. So they have announced in England they might be bringing in a sustainability GCSE soon. We need to build this knowledge. We need to build it now. We need to build it on a level within companies. We need to build it on a level outside of companies. We need to build it on a business level as well as on a school level, because it's businesses and decision makers now who can make a change now. We can't entrust our entire future on future generations. We need to make a change now for them. Okay, so that'll be my rant over. I've been so excited today that I didn't invite Unfun Frank over, which is a bit rude of me. So I will be doing his Unfun Facts on his behalf. My apologies, Frank. Hi there, Ritik. Thanks for joining us. Happy Earth Day. Lovely to see you. We're just about to get into Unfun Facts. So the first one. In September 2019, between 6 and 8 million people took to the streets to protest climate inaction. So just before the pandemic, there were huge strikes. Let's see if we can get that kind of level of protest up again for the next climate strikes. To prevent warming beyond 1.5 degrees C, we need to reduce our emissions by 7.6% every year from now to 2030. 7.6% reduction in emissions. We have to bring this down by 7.6%. I don't see this happening at the moment. I don't see it reducing dramatically. Now, had we acted in 2015, it would have only been about 4.6% that we had to reduce it every year. But we didn't act. We just talked about acting. The next one here, the next fact is in 2021, sea levels reached record highs with acceleration over the past 3 decades, like a clear acceleration. Sea levels are rising very quickly. Hi there, Ranjinder. Happy Earth Day to you as well, sir. My apologies if I've got terrible pronunciation there. I seem to be getting quite irate, and I didn't even get myself a glass of water. So concentrations reach record levels for CO2, methane and nitrous oxide. These are greenhouse gases that cause the greenhouse effect. You can check every day the CO2 in the atmosphere is rising on parts per million. There will be a lesson on that very, very soon. So these facts, they're not fun, I'm afraid. They are unfun. But it's okay. We're going to have a look at these ideas. Now, feel free to throw your answers into the chat box. We've got these 3 facts here. I'll blank out the first 2, the top 2. There we go. Not many people care about climate change. Is that true or is that false? Let's have it in your chat box. Is it true or is it false? So what do you think? 6 to 8 million people. True or false? True that not many people care? Not enough people care. Not enough people care. This could be seen on either side. A lot of people do make a change, make their voices heard, but not enough people do. We need to reduce our emissions by 7.6 every year to achieve our 1.5 degree aim. Is it true or false? 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 Stop doing that, Harry. You sound ridiculous. Will do. There you go. It is absolutely true. Thank you, Ritik, sir. And then sea levels are falling. Sea levels are falling thanks to government action. What do you think? Is that true or false? Sea levels are falling. Are sea levels falling? What do we think? Don't worry, it isn't all doom and gloom today, everybody. Sea levels aren't falling, you're absolutely right. Okay, so we are moving on to a new thing today.
One small step.
Let's get rid of that. We're moving on to something new today. It's called One Small Step. And it's all about the small actions that we can do that won't make a huge difference, but they will help us when we're thinking about it. So, when you're ready, this might reveal something to do with old Pegbeard that you may have seen earlier. So here we go.
One small...
Oh, I forgot to say the name. Where's the name gone? Oh, One Small Step. It's disappeared. We can see it on here.
One small step.
One small step. And it's all about just making a tiny, tiny change in your life. Now, this tiny change is not going to go a huge way to solving the climate crisis, but it will help change your mindset and get you looking at the right thing to do. And this one's really simple. When your horrible, useless plastic pegs start to break, don't replace them with more plastic pegs. Why not get wooden ones? Seems like a great idea to me. But the most important question of all, how many wooden pegs has Harry got in his beard? Let's have a look. So, there you go. How many pegs did old Pegbeard have there? What's your guess? Chuck it in the chat box. Very shortly, the answer will be revealed. So, for those of you who did see on Insta earlier today, very nice. So, we've got Sanjay and Belinda here as well. Hi there, Sanjay and Belinda. Lovely. Thank you for joining us. An absolute pleasure to have you here. Brilliant. My favourite teacher from over in India, Ritik, is here, so it's an absolute pleasure to have him, as always. Oh, kids can't school think 50 pegs. Kids can't school think 50 pegs. I said kids can't school think 50 pegs. Kids can't school think 50 pegs. Kids can't school think 50 pegs. Do we think higher or lower? Higher or lower? Hemagalan said 40 pegs. Hemagalan says 40 pegs. She's guessed 40. Ritik has said 35 pegs. Ooh, think it's time. Think it's time to put everyone out of their misery. Here we go.
One.
Oh, wrong one. There we go. So there you go. Brilliant. 37. Absolutely right. It was 37. Ritik got really close there with 35. We also had some really good guesses. It was 37. So there's a small thing you can do when you're buying pegs. Get the wooden ones next time. It's an idea. It's something that you can do. It's not going to make a huge difference, but it will help you think in a slightly different way. Okay, so here we go. Hi, Dolat. Nice to meet you as well. We do have a video coming up. We have a question. Oh, I've made an interesting spelling mistake in there, I've just noticed. So here are the questions. Remember, always read the questions before you do a listening. Let's have a look at this here. So, what is climate action? You'll be able to answer these. I'll put them up on the screen again. They are, of course, all in the worksheet as well, which is, I'll pin to the top here so we can all have access to that now. Just pay some more attention to what you're doing there, Harry. There we go. So, when you're ready, you've had time to read through this. Oh, look at that. There's another spelling mistake. It's just terrible. And all of that is in the worksheet. Someone needs a proofreader. Here we go then. So let's watch this wonderful interview. This is just a short version of the interview that I did an Instagram live with Amy and Ella from Kids Against Plastic. The full interview is available on YouTube. It's also available on Instagram, so feel free to jump over there and check it out. Today is SDG13, climate action. Before we do dive into it, who are Amy and Ella Meek?
So we're Amy and Ella. I'm 16 years old and Amy is 18 years old. And we've been running our charity Kids Against Plastic since 2016 now. So it's been quite a few years and hopefully very many years left to go as well. And we're just really passionate about protecting the environment because we have a love for animals and the planet after growing up spending as much time as we can in the outdoors, just appreciating nature.
SDG 13, climate action. Now, I'm going to take the SDG part out of it and just leave it as climate action. What is climate action to you?
Well, a really big question to start with, but then when it comes to the actual action part of that word, I think that's where it gets really interesting because climate action can take so many different forms, and I think that's one of the beauties of it because you've got sort of the SDG side of it, which is a lot of the policy work around it, the governmental kind of business also level of action for the climate, but then you've also got things that we as grassroots campaigners, individuals, or smaller organisations that everyone really can get involved in to help reach these climate targets in so many different ways. And whether that links to the SDGs, whether it's through protests, which is obviously a very big form of climate action that we've seen, whether it's through campaigns like ours, which aren't particularly focused just on climate change but link really closely to it. I think it's just such a broad movement and one that's really encompassing of any way that you want to get involved in trying to help stop climate change.
So yeah, for me, climate action is every action you take towards the environment and trying to make it better. But how has climate action affected Kids Against Plastic? How has Kids Against Plastic adapted because of climate action?
Well, I think as we find out more and more about climate change, we can see more and more links with all of the other environmental issues that are happening in the world, and especially with plastic pollution. Or for us in particular, that's something that we've noticed more and more links being developed. So when we first founded Kids Against Plastic, we were researching plastic pollution and finding out things about how much oil is used to produce a bottle, for example, and which types of how plastic's so great to transport because it's so light. All of this kind of thing that we were researching years ago without really noticing how this will have an impact on climate change because it wasn't as spoken about back then. So it's really interesting now to look back on everything that we found out and really see, oh, well, this has been developing for quite a long time and we just haven't really noticed. So yeah, there are loads of links with plastic pollution and climate change and all environmental issues, and it's just about finding an action that can help with all of these issues. And for us, what we'd like to point out that can help out with all of these is just making small changes that are achievable in your life. Like you were saying, Harry, that can make a big difference and make you feel comfortable with yourself that you're making a difference.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think what Ella was saying about how we've realised more and more how climate change and plastic are related. I think also as we've grown up a bit and matured as young people and seeing how these all connect. But I think what's the real power of that is exactly as Ella was saying, is getting involved in tackling plastic pollution sort of offers you that first step in getting involved in climate action.
So it's been lovely. Thank you so much. An absolute pleasure. Enjoy your evening. Have a lovely evening, ladies. Thank you so much.
Yeah, enjoy. See you later.
So there we go. And we're now ready for our questions. SDG 13, is it climate action? Is it act now? Or is it climate inaction? What's it supposed to be? Not what is it, obviously. What's it supposed to be? What do you think it is? Climate action. Thank you, kids can school. Very good. And when did Amy and Ella start Kids Against Plastic? Here's one for Anaya, obviously. Anaya's another wonderful member of the CAP Club. Very good. It's 2016. Rittik hot on the buzzer there. Fantastic. Now, the next two questions I'm going to kind of put into one. Why is climate action interesting according to Amy, and what does she mean by a broad movement? So I think you can kind of answer those with one answer. One really answers the other one, to be honest. Why is it interesting? Oh, fantastic. Their school is starting a campaign against single-use plastic. You are, indeed, you're on the... Rittik is part of the Plastic Clever Schools initiative, run by the amazing... Oh, got the fingers wrong. Kids Against Plastic. So yeah, exactly. Because it's a broad movement, because there are lots of different areas that you can get involved in, it does have lots of different branches, is why it's so interesting to her. And that is how it's a broad movement. And the last one, what does Ella mention they researched when they started Kids Against Plastic? Hi there, Naveen. Lovely of you to join us. What do you think? What does Ella mention they researched? What sort of things did they mention? I'll tell you what, next week I'm going to put some options in here. Makes it a bit more focused. What did they research? One thing in particular they mentioned that they researched that really stuck out to me was the amount of oil that's used in plastic. Now by 2050, I believe, 20% of our oil use will be in plastic. It's kind of scary. So looking for alternatives to plastic is always a fantastic idea, which is why we talked about strudels last week. And the box factory that I went to was also brilliant. Yeah, they researched to tackle plastic problems. Exactly. Thank you so much, Rittik. Now, for the second brand new part to the show. Everybody, I'm sure you're all excited for this one. Here we go. It's the one where I'm going to challenge you with your language, and it's called...
What do you mean? Oh, what do you mean?
There you go. It's called What Do You Mean? Yes, and that is Justin Bieber that I had in there. I probably should have asked his permission, but you know what? Greta never got back to me. I'm sure Justin Bieber probably wouldn't either. I'm sure he doesn't mind though. So what do you mean? And what am I talking about? Well, what I'm talking about are signs. Because protests are a brilliant way of direct action. They're a way of having your voice heard. The more people that go on protest, the more we will be heard. But you can do them everywhere. And not all protests are in English. Some of them are in other languages. So what I want you to do is tell me, what does this sign mean? I looked the wrong way, didn't I? It's supposed to be over there. I always get the reversing thing wrong. What do you mean? And bonus points if you can tell me what language it's in. What does this one mean? Capitalism kills planet. Yep, this planet in particular. Capitalism does indeed kill the planet. And it's true, because it does. It absolutely does. And it is in Spanish. Very good, Inaya. Well done. Capitalism kills the planet. And it continues to do so. And it will continue to do so. And now our second one for today and our last one for now. En español, Rittik. Muy bien. Our second one. Couldn't go without this one. What do we think this one means? And bonus points if anyone can guess the language and name this young individual. Obviously, I'm checking on all your points here. School strike for climate, good. And the language, we've got a guess for Polish here. And it's Swedish and it's Greta. Very good. Very good. The school strike for climate. Let me see where we've got. School strike for climate. Good job. Swish. Nice. Swedish indeed. Very good. So that is our last new feature. We'll be featuring 2 of these every week from now on. So we can think about how things work in different languages as well. And remember, it is a global issue. It's not just a local one. If you have any signs you want to send in from your country, we'd love to feature you. And in your language as well. That would be absolutely amazing. So it is time, everybody's favourite time, to introduce the one and only, the world famous Ali with her top tips.
Hi, and welcome to Ali's Top Tips. Today, we're talking about climate action. Take responsibility for your own actions. Eat less meat and don't waste food. Only buy what you need. Think long and hard about where you want to open your bank account.
You come in?
If people aren't listening, make more noise. Thanks for watching. Bye.
So there we go, and I've got a special guest right here with us. She just popped in to say hello. She came in with her top tips. They do come from the top tips do come from Ali. They are wonderful, and we thought of some other ones. Obviously, we couldn't get all of them done there, as we only had 30 seconds. Here she is, smiling away. I recommend it. Oh, there we go. I recommend everybody. Check out Hemagalan 3_ today on Insta because there's a great photo. There's many great photos. There's one today of this one looking wonderful. Anyway, so the other ideas we came up with that we didn't fit in there. Ali, be careful. There you go. She's turning right over the router. Almost a disaster. Make your voice heard by those in power. Eat less meat and dairy. Cut back on flying. Leave the car at home, reduce your energy use and thus bills, respect and protect green spaces, invest your money responsibly and cut consumption and waste. These are some simple ideas. She was munching on a rice cake, I think. We feed her all the most fun things here at the weekend. So these are just some other ideas. What are your ideas? What else can we do? Please do share with us on Instagram. Share with us wherever you like to. Do like and share this as well. It would be great to get as many people involved. It's been lovely to have 15 of you here today. If you are just joining now, you can watch back, and we will be back again next week. And I'll be asking you on Instagram, so do please get involved. Would you like these lessons to continue on Fridays, or would you like them to move back to Thursdays as usual? So it has been Earth Day. Again, happy Earth Day one and all. Don't forget to donate if you want. Like and subscribe. 3 of them are Retic students. Very good. And of course, give us a follow. So Friday is good. I will be putting that on Instagram, and I'll put it in the Facebook group as well. So you can let us know, because I think this Friday vibe's working. And should I continue to wear makeup for every episode? A different makeup for every different episode. What a great idea, Harry. I love it. It's brilliant. I look divine. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Thanks for the makeup artists. It's great. You've all been wonderful. They are a superstar family. They're incredible. They're absolutely amazing. I don't know what I'd do without them. You've all been wonderful. As always, it's time to say goodbye. So, goodbye.